Welcome. My name is Alonso Ayala, and in this presentation, I will showcase the transformation process of government-built housing using the example of a social housing project in the Philippines. But first, I would like to start with an explanation on what housing transformation process means. The housing transformation process is defined as the adaptive regeneration of a neighborhood. This regeneration refers both to the dwelling unit as well as the neighborhood layout originally provided by the project. The main features of the transformation process of government-built housing can be summarized as following. First, it is an incremental process in which house units are transformed to reflect changing housing needs of a household. Therefore, it is bound to life cycles of families and/or individuals. And when this process takes place among a considerable number of units, it will impact the urban form, land use characteristics of the site layout, thus involving transformation beyond the dwelling. But now, let's talk about the case study itself and see how the transformation process took place and which lessons can be drawn from it. The project, called Kapayapanville Housing Project, is located in an industrial town near Metro Manila. It was implemented by the National Housing Authority of the Philippines between 1990 and 1994 and included approximately 6,000 housing units. The housing approach taken was to give people ownership of a house and a plot. This was made accessible and affordable to low-income families through a government mortgage program. The target group were factory workers and government employees of the vicinity. The house unit provided was of minimal standards. As you can see in the picture, it included unpainted galvanized iron sheets for roofing, no ceiling, and concrete hollow blocks for walling. The toilet provided basic fixtures, and the kitchen had a galvanized tile sink in a concrete slab. The original size of houses varied from 20 to 36 square meters, placed in the middle of plots ranging from 80 to 100 square meters. The layout, as shown in the graphic, were either a square shape or an L-shaped single space with a separate toilet. Trunk and service infrastructure included concrete and asphalt roads, a combination of underground and covered canals for drainage, individual septic tanks for sewage, and individual water and electricity connection. As occupation started, the transformation process was triggered, mainly because of the original constraints posed by the housing solution itself, which, according to survey beneficiaries, were related to the house size and the quality of the construction. In general terms, housing transformation triggers were related to housing stress factors such as the need to accommodate family better and the need to separate boys from girls. Economic factors triggering the process were mainly related to having a business inside the house, largely represented by putting up a sari-sari store. Other reasons were the need of the family to increase the size of the kitchen and add what is known in the culture as a dirty kitchen. A dirty kitchen, just to clarify, is a separate outdoor space attached to the kitchen where, for example, meat and fish can be cleaned. Now, I would like to show you how the transformation process of the house unit and the neighborhood took place. Almost 3/4 of the dwellings in the project were transformed during a span of 10 years. Those who transformed their houses were mostly, if not all, owners. Let's have a closer look at two examples of transformers. Mrs. B.D. was a 40-year-old housewife married to a 42-year-old soldier earning around $130 per month. She got additional income from her sari-sari store, which is a kind of home-based business that sells goods. She had 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. She moved in 1999 and transformed her house the same year to accommodate her children, have a sari-sari store, and relocate both kitchen and toilet. Mr. CS moved with his wife in 1991 with their 8 children. At the time of the research in 2002, 2 children were married, one of the boys moved away, and the eldest daughter lived there with their husband and 2 kids. They were an extended family of 11 people. He earned around $250 per month, and the children contributed with $120 per month. First, they built a kitchen, then another room, plus a separate apartment for the married couple. And they share a dirty kitchen. The description of these 2 families can give you already relevant information on why people transform their houses. The process was widespread throughout the project, resulting in the transformation of the neighborhood. The following slides show you the original layout of the project site and the transformed one. You look at the original. Here you can see that the project was conceived as mostly residential with several subsections of the neighborhood, arranged around an open space. At the center, a commercial land use was prescribed, as well as government facilities for education. The widespread transformation process of houses had eventually an impact on the character of the neighborhood, as we will see next. In comparison to the original site layout, what you see here after 10 years of occupation and housing transformations taking place is a clear mixed-use development catering for the needs of particular individuals, but also cultural groups. If you pay close attention to the land uses portrayed in the blueprint, then you realize that there are distinct uses that stand out. These are commercial uses along main access corridors, basketball courts in every open space, and religious uses widespread throughout. This case study of this particular housing project in the Philippines clearly shows a number of contributory factors that triggers the housing transformation process. These are whether the household is single, nuclear, or extended. There is, for example, a need to increase privacy within the dwelling and for separating boys from girls. Whether the house is owned, because homeowners are main drivers of the process. Whether there is a need for performing livelihood activities within the house to increase household income, which is an economic factor. The need to increase accessibility to certain kinds of services and facilities, such as grocery stores, private schools, and dental clinics, and create sources of livelihoods, therefore calling for mixed-use housing development, and cultural factors which are reflected in changes to provide other land uses such as religious buildings, basketball courts, and sari-sari stores in the case of the neighborhood. And in the case of the house units, the creation of terraces in front of the house as well as dirty kitchens. To conclude, the case study of Kapayapanville housing project shows that first, attaining adequate housing is possible for low-income families through an incremental process. And the housing transformation process is determined or triggered by demographic, economic, and socio-cultural needs in housing, as it was the case of the government-built housing project presented.